Welcome to Frosting Your Gravy, everyone. Today I'm inviting you to join me for a recipe for an amazingly delicious Korean food called, there's two names for it depending on where people are in Korea, what region. So one name that they go under is a name known to me, and they're called Pigodi. Pigodi. And the second name for them is Mandu. And whichever name you call them doesn't matter, because what they are is just breads, super soft, basically buns that are filled with meat and onions, cabbage, shredded carrots, all of those nutritious things mixed with meat, stuffed into a breaded dough and steamed on a steam pot. Absolutely delicious dinner, and of course nutritious because of the amount of veggies that go in it. And traditionally these are served with either sriracha sauce, which is how I'm going to eat them, or the rest of my family that don't like the spicy, going to dip them into a soy sauce. And in our local Asian market we found this mushroom flavored soy sauce, and we cannot go back to the plain stuff. This stuff is fire. It's delish. And that's what we're making today, friends. I hope you will make them for your family too, and save the recipe, and hopefully this will be in your family on repeat from this point on. Let's open one of these Mandu or Pigodi up and check out the inside. So tender and soft, and look at that dough, how fluffy that is. You should be able to catch just the fluffiness of the super soft bread dough that we created. That is the dough, my friends. I hope you will try it at least once. They are really worth it. Oh, my dear ones, I'm eating it with some sriracha, and every bite is a slice of heaven. Here is a good view. You can see how fluffy that bread dough is. If you follow my instructions and my tips, guaranteed you will achieve this kind of pigodi at home. Just go for it. For the filling for our Korean steamed buns, we will need a total of 1.5 pounds of meat. Feel free to use whatever meat or even a combination. Today I have one semi-frozen chicken breast and two hamburger patties. The chicken breast is 1 pound and the hamburger patties are 1/2 pound. So together I have 1.5 pounds of meat. Whilst my chicken breast is still semi-frozen, I'm going to slice it into really small thin strips. Whilst the meat is still semi-frozen, it's much easier to cut it into pretty thin strips. It feels like almost like you're shaving ice. After cutting the meat into really thin slices, cut it into strips and then into cubes. Next, dice up 1 very large onion or 2 medium. Heat up your sauteing pan should be slightly deeper than a regular frying pan because we will be adding cabbage. Add 2 tablespoons of oil. Add whatever meat that you're using. I'm adding chicken and ground beef. And now, if your beef is like mine in the patty, obviously this needs to be broken into crumbled up. And stir and fry for literally like a minute, very, very briefly, just until your meat is no longer pink. We don't want to overcook this, just like this. As soon as it changes the color, this stage of pre-cooking the meat is done. Add a teaspoon and a half of salt. The rule of thumb is, my friends, that the filling must be slightly undersalted because these traditional Korean buns are served with soy sauce, which is very salty, so the filling should be just a little undersalted. About half a teaspoon of black pepper, a teaspoon of ground coriander. I don't have ground today, so I'm just going to add some of these little beads, but that's okay. They will still give off the flavor to the filling. A small shaking of crushed red pepper flakes. You can regulate how spicy you want your buns. If you like spicy, add more. And add the onion that we chopped earlier. Soon as our onion became soft and translucent, we're going to add 2 1-pound bags of tricolor coleslaw, and it's in a pan. And now salt it with another teaspoon of salt and carefully mix the coleslaw together with the meat. At first it will be difficult because coleslaw is still crunchy at this point, but as you cook and stir on medium heat, slowly the cabbage will wilt down and greatly reduce in volume. Friends, within 2 minutes the cabbage has wilted down. As you can see, it greatly reduced in volume, so it's now easy to stir. And it's the perfect time to add granulated minced garlic. 1 or 2 teaspoons. We appreciate garlic, so I added 2 teaspoons. And next we add 1.5 tablespoons of butter. Butter will add creamy, delicious flavor and plays really well with meat and cabbage. Now stir the garlic and the butter. Mix with all the other ingredients. Look how yummy. That smells so good. And the last step, guys, for our filling is to increase our heat to high and constantly stirring. Don't walk away because we don't want this to burn to the bottom. We will cook this until this liquid evaporates, almost all of it, and it won't take long. There you go, my friends. Within 2 to 2.5 minutes, because we did it on high heat, it didn't take long at all. The liquid has evaporated. Let's check. Move all the filling away, and as you can see, no liquid. Turn off and allow it to cool completely. Our filling is done. For the dough, in a bowl I have 1 3/4 cups plus 2 tablespoons of warm water, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of sugar, and 2 teaspoons of active dry yeast. Stir everything to combine. Yeast, salt, and sugar must be completely dissolved in water before we add the flour. And then we start adding in the flour. All in total, we're going to mix in 5.5 cups of all-purpose flour. When one portion of flour is completely dissolved and resembles like pasty consistency, add more and continue adding and stirring in until you can no longer mix with either your dough hook or wooden spoon. This is after 3 cups. The dough is starting to come together, and at some point, like right now, it's very difficult to mix in the remainder of the flour because it really clumps up onto my dough hook. So I'm going to remove it and finish making my dough by hand. When most of your flour have been kneaded in, add 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil and finish kneading the dough for a minimum of 5 minutes by hand. And if you don't like the process of kneading, you can literally throw it into your bread maker machine and put it on knead cycle. That'll do a beautiful job. Or of course, there's always our trusty stand mixer with a hook attachment. It's really important to develop all of that gluten in the dough, and kneading time should be 5 to 7 minutes. Friends, I just finished kneading my dough. As you can see, my dough is now very elastic. I just want to stress out one more time that my dough is still slightly sticky to touch. Like when I touch and pull away, there's a little residue. This and nothing else is the secret to the softest buns. To achieve the softest dough, never stuff it with too much flour. And now I'm going to literally add about 1 little teaspoon of oil. I'm going to oil the top, the bottom, and just lightly oil the sides of my bowl. And I'm going to cover it with saran wrap and allow it to rise in a warm place for about hour and a half until it rises really tall, at least doubles in volume. Dough is ready. It completed its rise cycle. As you can see, this was my bowl. Absolutely airy, fluffy. This is the same words that will be applying to your finished buns. Because the dough is so airy and fluffy, guaranteed that our finished buns will be also. So it like nearly tripled in volume. And I'm going to invert it onto my silicone mat. Beautiful. And I'm going to divide the dough using my dough cutter. I'm going to divide it into 2. Form 2 logs. One of mine is slightly bigger, so I'm going to divide the smaller one probably into 8, 4 here and 4 here, and the longer one probably into 10, so half and 5 from each side. Just such a beautiful dough to work with. And these will be 4 roughly equal balls. Here they are, my friends. All in total, I ended up with 19 pieces. And cover them with saran wrap and allow them to rest for 10 minutes. And now we can start shaping our Mandu or Pigodi. We will begin with the very first ball that we rolled up because that will be the fluffiest. And we will just go in order that we were shaping them. And from here it's pretty simple. Flatten your ball and roll it out into a circle. This should not be very thin. If you've ever baked buns, then you are likely familiar with the thickness that we roll it out, because it needs to be able to hold our filling. If we roll it out too thin, they will simply tear under the weight of the filling. So about this thick. Hopefully you friends can see. We are going to place the filling in the middle. And friends, this is how traditionally the Mandu are, or Pigodi, are shaped. If you find it too difficult, feel free to use whatever way you know how to crimp the two sides together to hold your filling. But traditionally it's made like this, and I'm going to try and do it slow so you can see. Go to the end, pick up the two sides and pinch together. Now it's holding. Now we will have to use two hands. Using this hand, push the dough out and create a fold. There, you see? The fold is to the side. And then with this hand, grab that pleat or fold and join it to the original end that we created. Now we're going to go to the opposite side. Push the dough out, create a fold. There it is. And now with this hand, grab the fold and pinch it to your original end. I will show it again. Here's the side. I'm going to push it out, crimp it, and then push the crimp to the middle and pinch. Now we'll go to this end. Push it out, create a fold, and then push the fold to the center of the original seam. So out and in. Now opposite side. Out, create that fold and push it in. And we will go all around, out and join in the center. Create a fold out, crimp and join in the center. Now on this side, out, create that fold and join into the center all the way up. In the end, stuff all that filling in and finish in the same way. Out and in, out and in, out and in. Pinch the side. Oops. And here we go. It's not the best pleat. I'm not like a master at it. I'm not super professional, but I do the best I can, and it'll hold it together. We are going to place it on a well-oiled, this is very important so that we can easily release it later, on a well-oiled tray of a steam pot. Friends, another important thing to note is leave some room in between them, because as we steam them, the dough will rise and they will definitely fluff up, and if we don't leave enough room, they'll stick to each other. Here you go, guys. Our beautiful Pigodi are ready to go onto a boiling, at a high rolling boil bottom pot. Put the lid on and set the timer for 25 minutes. If we cook them longer than that, the dough might become just rubbery and tough. Maximum of 30 minutes. Dum, ta-dum, 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 ta-dum. My family is excited. I'm excited to eat Pigodi. Delicious Korean steamed buns. Yum, 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 yum. The second tray is now done. I literally just pulled them off of the steam pot.